Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. I thought I'd make this video to help out anybody who's stuck at sort of a mid-game tech level in career mode. So here's a vessel to get several thousand science using these research labs. I wanted to meet three goals with this design. The first was low cost, so it's under 45,000. The second is being under 140 tons, so you can launch it with a level 2 launch pad. And it's not too tall either. And the third is being low tech, so the only tech from the 160 science tier you need for this is the one for the research labs. So let's add some crew. Not Jeb. Catford can pilot this. A couple scientists. Actually, we want one in each lab, I think. And let's get going. I'll put the craft file in the video description if you want to try it. Maybe in a pack with some other stuff. So throttle up, SAS on, and launch. Now you can see these fuel tanks are on top of the solid boosters, and these are actually draining first. What you have to do is click on these decouplers and enable the crossfeed, and to make sure they drain first, you can go to the pause menu, turn on advanced tweakables, and that lets you change the flow priority. That was actually largely meant for space planes, because a lot of space planes have a problem with the balance changing as fuel is used, and so people would spend a lot of time manually doing transfers between tanks, which is annoying. So it's a little bit unstable. The thing is, stability and control parts tend to be expensive, so low cost tends to mean low stability. But as you can see, it's not too bad. Go ahead and turn on those engines. Throttle down just a little bit, drop the boosters, there we go. A nice clean separation, and now we can turn a little bit harder, I think. How's our APO? Not too high yet. Not too high yet, so we can just point at like 45 degrees or so. And once again, I've enabled crossfeed on this decoupler. So these forward engines are getting fed from these rear tanks. I'll just drop those off. Maybe quick save, just in case. There's our APO. A lot of the time you want to aim for an APO of like 40 seconds or so. I'm going to be maybe on the high side of that. We can go ahead and nose down a little bit though. And one thing about using flow priority instead of fuel hoses is that these engines will not stop burning when their tanks are empty. They will just keep on going, draining fuel from these forward tanks. So you do need to make sure to eject them at the right time because they won't turn off. But you can just see the amount of fuel you have here. See, we're more than halfway through those fuel tanks. 48 seconds to APO, 47, and about 1,000 meters per second of velocity until we reach orbit. So we will need to use the next stage. A lot of people would edit these out or speed up these burns. We can do this, I guess. A little bit of time warping. If you want to watch videos with high production values, there's a number of people you can check out, like Scott Manley and Marcus House and Matt Lone and so on. And just cut that for a second. I thought that was a nice little Kerbal touch there. The ejection sort of gets hung up on these engines. Oh well. Some people may have different taste than me. I do make sort of clean vehicles too. I make both kinds. So, time to Apo is... well, we're fine really. We're already at 2 kilometers per second. Check our fuel. Looks like we'll have over 300. I think you probably need like 270 fuel in orbit if you want to go to the Mun or Minmus. We can even throttle down a little bit here. Yeah, we're gonna be just fine. We should time warp actually. Here. Apo is at a bit over 82 kilometers. If you have a more experienced pilot, you can set them to automatically follow the prograde. You click on a little icon here, but we have a novice pilot. Oh, we should probably throttle up a little bit, turn off the time warp, watch our parry here. We click it to pin it, and once they start rotating, yeah, we're roughly circular. I mean, it's good enough. So, might as well quick save here. Next up, we are going to be heading to the Mun. Moon. I guess I say Mun. It is a moon. It is the moon of Kerbin. So we set that as the target, and we're going to burn about 90 degrees or so before its position. And we just extend this and we can start seeing that, and we can grab this little circle to adjust it, and now we have an encounter with a pretty low parry. So we can just point in the correct direction and maybe warp to next maneuver. We click behind ourselves on the orbit, warp to next maneuver. How's our ship looking? Everything's looking just fine. Actually, there is something I'd like to do while we're in orbit. Well, I'll warp here so we have some light. We can actually start getting some data for our research labs. So, observe materials bay, process in a lab, observe mystery goo, etc. And can we go ahead and do the second lab? Yes, we can. That's why I put one scientist in each lab, and we can actually reuse these without having to do an EVA if we just hit clean experiments. Okay, mystery goo is cleaned. And uh-oh. We're almost to our maneuver node. Are we going to have time? Well, we can just go ahead and observe this again. Hopefully we'll have time to clean out our materials bay. Okay, yeah, that's done. Warp to next maneuver. Here we are. Observe this again. We're already up to about 10% full on these. Oh, right, we can do another crew report. So, we should probably go ahead and start our burn. Just a little bit of thrust to give us some vectoring. And get going. I'm not really the best at following a target, I'm afraid. But you don't have to be perfect. Might as well point these solar panels towards the sun. I do kind of like the way the lights on all these batteries look. And we can just go ahead and time warp a bit. Speed this up. A little more time warping. So, if we were going to min this, we would need to fix our inclination, which we want to do it about halfway there. But we already have quite a nice encounter. Yeah, that's there's two things you can't speed up that much in Kerbal Space Program. One is long burns with low thrust. One is long burns with low thrust. And another is super long orbits, like if you're going to outer planets and you need to pass several years, then you can only time warp so much. That's Kerbal Apo. Yeah, this is fine. So we can just quick save and go ahead and warp. Well, maybe we'll EVA. Catford, you go on EVA. Time for some more science. Keep experiment board. Review process. No, not even gonna bother doing another one. Let's just get warping here. Auto time warp. And another time warp into the Mun's sphere of influence. You know, a lot of people say they want multi-body gravity, like orbits affected by multiple bodies. But the thing is, that means your orbits are then no longer stable. Okay, we actually have an impact course. How much delta V would it take to get us into orbit? Not too much. Should we get into orbit? Orbit would be nice because then we can choose our landing zone a bit better. Yeah, 20 meters per second delta V. I think I'll go for it. But, you know, quick save. We do have a pretty decent amount of fuel left. Our tanks are about half full, so... Oh, come on. Stop rotating. And throttle up. And just finish this off. What's our parry at? It's pretty low, but it's enough. Okay. So, to be efficient, we want to burn at the parry here. Add maneuver. And just get into an orbit. Doesn't have to be circular. And now we just warp to about where it is. And get on our blue target vector here. And we have another 100 meter per second burn. Maybe somewhere between that and the retrograde. Oop. Still not in an orbit. I mean, that's pretty much fine, isn't it? There we go. I was a little bit off the parry, but it's not a big deal. As long as we're above the surface. So now we want to just pick our landing zone, and well, there's a lot of options. It doesn't make that much difference, really. You can just maybe land in this big crater here. Not the flattest space, I think, but it's fine. And towards like the outer edge, because we're probably gonna, well, like somewhere along here maybe. That's probably fine. So just time warp while we rotate to the correct vector. Time warp to stop our rotation. Warp to next maneuver. Okay. Can we time warp any faster? Oh no, we can't. We're too low. What is that? 10,000? Yeah. There's a bit of a reason to at least have your parry over 10,000 for faster time warp. Might be worth getting yourself into an orbit above 100,000 on Kerbin if you want to time warp faster there. Can you warp any faster now? There you go. Oh, and yeah, there's another reason to aim a little ahead of your landing zone. This orbit targeting is not accounting for... Yeah, let's just get rid of that. It's not accounting for the rotation of the Mun. So we just want to be like... I don't know. Just touching the surface, really. That'll do, I guess. I don't know. That's fine. Just watch our orbit. You usually won't get it perfectly on the maneuver node, so a lot of times it's better to just watch your actual orbit. Maybe even delete the maneuver node. And if we want to see when we will impact, you want to add a maneuver at your impact site and then set this burn until this loop here becomes really small. So we're looking at about 600 some meters per second. And now comes the tricky part, which is the actual landing. I'm not sure if we're going to make it inside the crater or not here. If you want to maintain your landing site at the same spot, you want to burn more on this target than on your actual retrograde. Burning on the retrograde marker will make your landing site closer to where you are. It'll bring it closer, while burning on the target will leave it less changed. And we want to be inside the crater, so we can go ahead and start burning here. We have quite a lot of slowing down to do, but that's okay. We still have a pretty decent amount of fuel. Let's just face this way, maybe. Alright. And while we're here, might as well clean experiments. Do a crew report, process in a lab. Crew report, process in a lab. And we can do an EVA too, I suppose. Not you. Catford. You. EVA report. Oh, uh-oh. I got a bit off the target vector. Yeah, let's try that again. Okay, we already did the crew report stuff. Observe mystery goo process in a lab. I'll need to keep an eye on my actual trajectory instead of just watching the science stuff. Log pressure data. Log pressure data. Okay. Observe materials bay. And clean experiments. Okay, now this maneuver node is outdated. It is very much outdated. So we need to make a new one. Uh-oh. We're quite close to impact here. 9, 8, 7, 4. Well, that was a little bit above the surface. So, here is sort of the final approach. One more quick save. One helpful thing to do is to look for your shadow here. Boop, boop, boop. I'm going to point this way now. And aiming for about 4 meters per second is good. Another quick save. And it's not a big deal if your wheels explode. It doesn't really matter. But, well, we would like to land on the other side, I think. Okay, well, let's give this one more try and see if we can land without anything exploding. It's really not that big a deal if you lose the wheels or an engine, but, well, I guess all else being equal, you'd prefer not to. Whoop. We've done it. We did it. We did it, everybody. Oop, 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 oop. Engine's off. And we still have probably enough fuel for a short suborbital hop. Possibly enough to get to a different biome. Let's go ahead and turn the brakes on here. Hope. Is that even enough to slow us down? Apparently not. Well, I guess we might be headed to the bottom of this crater. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's better to land on a flat spot, but oh well. I guess we can do some crew reports and stuff in the meantime. There we go. Now we've stopped. We can turn off the time warp. Keep doing all our experiments. Process. 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 Transmit. Process. Transmit. Transmit. Clean experiments. And just time warp a bit to clean out the experiments. Is that sped up by time warp? I assume it is. Well, there we go. And we can just observe this again. And we can observe this again. And we can clean experiments again. And we can observe again. And we can transmit. And we can observe again. And transmit. And clean experiments again. And then we can get started on the actual research. So level up crew, I guess. Level up crew. Transfer our other scientist into the forward processing lab, so they're both in the same lab. And finally, we start research. So we are now getting 11.25 science per day. And that'll continue for quite a while. We get 5 science per data, so we're getting over 3,000 potential science from this one lab. Plus whatever we've already transmitted, plus we can do the same thing in this other lab over here. And one last thing, we have a contract to plant a flag, so our pilot can get out. Maybe get a little bit out to the side. Take a surface sample, an EVA report, and plant that flag. This can be Research Base Alpha. Okay. Well, here is our MUN Science Base. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.